Welcome back for another video. Who are the best players to buy for Game Week 2? We're going to break it down by position and we'll look at the best players for the next week and for the next 5 game weeks. I'm going to be dropping daily content like this all season long to help you do well and beat your mates in your league, so make sure you're subscribed. So let's do the goalkeepers first, and obviously realistically you shouldn't be making a keeper transfer unless maybe you're on a free hit or a wildcard, but there's still a lot to be learned in this segment even if this isn't the week you're looking that way. So the standout fixture is obviously Arsenal home to Leeds, which has got Raya top this week on exactly 4 points. If I was using the wildcard this week, he would be my starting keeper without question. Where it gets interesting is the next picks on the table. So we've got Sanchez, Petrovic and Dubravka. They're all on 3.7 points. A huge number of us picked up Dubravka as our backup keeper, and if Sanchez or Petrovic is your other keeper, then which one do you start? Chelsea and Bournemouth are obviously going to be a better defence overall this season, but Burnley have got the best fixture, home to Sunderland. And in my case, I'm doubled up. I've got Estev and Dubravka, so I'm currently looking at hedging with Sanchez and Estev, but going all in on Burnley could be the play this week. If they keep that clean sheet, big points on the board. Chelsea are away to West Ham, who obviously were goalless against Sunderland in Game Week 1, and Petrovic have got Wolves, who were also goalless in Game Week 1, albeit against Man City. Who starts in goal for Man City next game week then? I mean, I would avoid Trafford. I know he's 5 mil, but we've got Ederson on the table here, but it's really an unclear situation. Pep said the following yesterday: Ederson is my player, he's our player. Ederson has been the keeper of 6 Premier League titles in 7 years. He's the keeper of the Champions League and he won it. Saving in Madrid in the final against Inter in the last minute. He's the player that 9 years every single game. We'll have to see if he does leave, but until the window closes, I'm steering well clear. It's also not impossible for him to leave and they sign a new goalkeeper, which leaves Trafford as the backup, though he did look like a really capable pair of hands in his debut in fairness. So looking at the next 5 projections, Petrovic is the one that leads among the 4.5 mil keepers. Liverpool out of the way now, and it's Wolves home next, and then they've got Spurs, Brighton, Newcastle and Leeds, and the fixtures are pretty good beyond that as well. So if you're on a wild card and you're looking for a super cheap goalkeeper combination, then go with Petrovic and Dubravka. No other 4 mil keepers played in Game Week 1. Defenders next, and Arsenal centre-backs Gabriel and Saliba right at the top for the Leeds game. We've got Gabriel top this game week. He's my preference over any other Arsenal defender for his better goal threat and nailedness basically. Assuming no injuries, he'll probably finish the season as Arsenal's top scoring defender, unless we get a scenario where, say, Timber ends up nailing down the spot and White doesn't come in, but I just can't see it. So yeah, go for Gabriel over Saliba or any others. Calafiori did of course score in Game Week 1 and he kept the clean sheet, but he's not nailed either. Lewis Skelly's there, so I'd much rather Gabriel. The challenge with Palace was always going to be that starting fixture or starting fixtures the first 3 weeks, but they did manage to keep a clean sheet away at Stamford Bridge, and they're home to Forest next, and in Game Week 4 and 5 it's Sunderland and West Ham back to back, which looks incredible. It's a really good entry point this week as well to buy Munoz. He is 5.5 mil, which is a bit dear, but besides Trent, of course, who's left, he was the top defender for expected goal involvement last season with 8.5 XGI. It's like having an extra midfielder on your team owning him with that kind of data. Gabriel and Cucurella, my 2 favourite premium defenders currently. Aït-Nouri did have a good debut for City, has to be said, but it's just a longer term question mark over his nailedness, with Vardio returning to the team soon. Vardio and Aït-Nouri were the 3rd and 4th best for XGO last season in fact, after Munoz and Trent. We are going to see them starting plenty together of course, but they could be competition for one another as well. Senesi looks fantastic for 4.5 mil if you're in need of a cheap defender now. He's playable in lots of upcoming game weeks and he registers extremely well for defensive contributions per 90. In fact, in Game Week 1 he came away with 15. He normally averages just over 10 per game, so he's going to get you those extra points lots over the coming weeks. Trafford is the upside chasing alternative, same price as Senesi, and he should get the odd attacking return from left back, but less DCs. He's their Kirkes replacement. It's rare that we see a 4 mil defender on these, but Estev just sneaks in on the table with 4.2 points. He's joint with some big hitters in this table as well in fact. Of course, his longer term projections aren't nearly as good. This is really the only week that you'll be happy starting him. If you're on a wildcard, I would actually consider a Leeds defender instead, Beal, Gudmundsson and Rodon in that order personally. They should be a better defence over the season than Burnley, and on a wildcard you can play a stronger defence this week, like Gabriel, Munoz, Senesi will be my starting back 3 and probably a Leeds defender on the bench. Rico Lewis had a brilliant game week 1, didn't he? Clean sheet, 2 assists and bonus. It's just his lack of nailedness that's going to become a headache at some point, in my opinion. Like, we've been here before, just last season in fact, when he was 4.5 mil. It's kind of hard to imagine a world where he's starting every match, and he is pricier than 24-25. So yeah, Porro doesn't make the table. He's obviously a really popular defender. Just 2.5 projected points for him away at Man City. So as mad as it sounds, I'd actually bench the super attacking fullback for someone like a Stev. Though I should mention what happened last time Porro played at the Etihad, as much as it pains me to say, because I benched him that game week. He scored, he kept a clean sheet, and he did get bonus for a 14 pointer, I think it was. I think it was 4-0 full time to Spurs. Who remembers that game? Onto the midfielders, and if you've got Saka, this is your golden opportunity. He's relatively low ownership, and he leads the pack this week. He's on 6.7 points, top of all mids. Salah's on 6.4 against Newcastle, Palmer 6.1 against West Ham. I can see a scenario where a premium midfield is actually the best play, especially if you're wildcard this week, and then you go with Anderson and Reinders, the other two. Reinders has risen to 5.6 mil, which is a bit of an awkward price now, but he is still really cheap, and him and Anderson do unlock a lot. Reinders is on 4.3 projected points, by the way, so he doesn't quite make the table, with Wirtz on 4.6, and there's a few others just ahead of him, and also not on the table like Sarr and Rice, but it was a brilliant debut from Reinders, and what a pick he looks like. Although Eze creeps in at 5th place on exactly 5 points, he's a definite avoid right now, with so much uncertainty on his future. In fairness, if a move to Spurs does happen, then that'd be great, as long as he's straight into the team, and it's not one of those where he's not in Palace's squad next match, but also a bit too late of a transfer to start for Spurs Game Week 2. Let's see how the week unfolds anyway, he might end up staying. Semenyo, the other one who rose in price with Reinders and Ekitike, he'd be another staple pick of us wildcarding this week, or probably even on a free hit this week, Semenyo. Unless you'd already planned for it with your Game Week 1 team selection, I would actually save the free hit though. There's probably going to be better weeks to target some teams with a chip. Even in Game Week 3, like Burnley have got Liverpool, so go with triple Liverpool. Palace are home to Sunderland. But then there's Game Week 5, for example, which on paper looks even better. You've got Man City home to Burnley, so you could free hit and triple City. Bournemouth have got Leeds, so Semenyo, Evan-Nilsson, maybe defender. Forest are home to Sunderland, so Wood, etc. So what do you do if you've got Marmoush then? Obviously benched in Game Week 1. I would be really tempted to swap him for someone like Semenyo if I had him, and obviously free up a lot of money as well in the process. Some other names not on the table this week, and Ndye's on 4.3, so same as Reinders. Gakpo 4.2 with 75 estimated minutes. Rodgers 4.0, Anderson 3.9. Honourable mention to King at Fulham, only 4.5 mil, and he racked up, I think it was 8 defensive contributions, and he did start for Fulham. He's not one that you ever want to be starting, but as far as the 4.5 mil mids, he looks the best of the bunch. Don't expect him to start every week either, but he'd be my pick. So, finishing up with the forwards, and well done to Haaland owners Game Week 1, especially if you captain him for that 13 points or 26 as captain. At the moment, just 5 points clear of Salah, so things can change very fast. He's on 6.8 projected points this week, which puts him just barely top of all players this game week. Saka was on 6.7, Salah 6.4, Palmer 6.1. If you've got him, then you captain him, unless you've got the very rare Haaland and Saka combination. I would go for Saka in that scenario, given they're literally only 0.1 apart, which is as good as noise in the data when it's that close, and Saka just represents massive upside this week. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he comes away with a big double-digit score. Evan-Nilsson comes in second, he's on 5.2 points, and then it's Watkins, Mateta and Gyökeres. Not a single shot from Gyökeres, which ended a streak of, I think it's about 67 games in a row where he had shot a goal. The last time he didn't do that was when he was playing for Coventry, that's how long ago it is. But yeah, definitely keep him if you still got him for that fixture. If he does come off early again for Havertz or whoever, then I would start to consider pivoting to another forward. 6.5 mil Strand Larsen on a respectable 4.4 points. Thiago 4.3, as obviously both sides look to get their first points on the board this season. Ekitike a little bit lower down, just purely because of his lower expected minutes, with an estimated 71, which was exactly what he got in Game Week 1, and he's on 4.2 points. The underlying message this week is to roll unless your team is faced with some real concerns already. You probably spent loads of time planning and researching your Game Week 1 team, and transfers are so precious and it's so early in the season, things can change really fast. There were no injuries in Game Week 1 either. There are going to be weeks where you least expect it, someone that you own in your team gets injured, plus you might have transfers elsewhere that you need to make. And having some accumulated transfers keeps you so flexible and ahead of the rest of the pack. Let us know what your transfer plans are below, even if it's just a role, so we can gauge what everyone's doing this week. A new premium FPL Wrapped newsletter goes out today from myself, FPL Harry and FPL Raptor, so go to wrap.tips to sign up to receive that. If you do miss it and it's already gone up by then, you can still view it online. Thanks very much for watching. Do hit subscribe if this was helpful. We've got a pretty packed week of content ahead. We've got the #1 all-time managers FPL team and transfer plans, my team selection, the experts and more. See you soon for the next one.